Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and I wanted to remind you of something. Crypto or tax season in general is coming up. It'll be here before you know it. This year, I used this coin tracker software to do my taxes, and the way it works is you link all of your crypto accounts, and it literally sucks in your accounts, and then you can print forms, and you can just email the forms to your accountant. And it is literally like magic, and it's a very good tool to have to kind of add to when you're trying to do your taxes. As I have this, I'll put this. In fact, they gave me a discount code. I can't remember the percentage of a discount. Don't quote me. I think it's like 10% discount if you use my code. But click on the link in the top of the description, and you'll be able to get it. Also, as backup, the cryptotaxaudit.com. This is Clinton Donnelly, who's a crypto tax expert. He does consultation, and he has his audit defense if you get audited or you need help tracking that kind of thing or help with an actual audit. Clinton Donnelly's the man. The link to that will be in the top of the description as well. Now, check this out. Now, I don't know anything about this, but I read this and I was like, the one thing about Gary Gensler that I've always thought is, this guy just happens to be everywhere. There's shady stuff going on, but it never sticks to him for some reason. Well, we've seen enough, okay? That's why we keep asking Congress if it really is a new day. But look at this. We knew that SEC, the general counsel, the Berkowitz guy, we covered this the other day. He resigned after being found to have accepted bribes. Now, I'm not aware of this. I'm just reading this right here, okay? But then this part, follow Berkowitz money trail. He passed cash to Gary Gensler from Sam Bankman-Fried. There are emails with full extent of the bribe. Now, again, I'm not saying that. This person's saying that. I'd like to see the proof, receipts. If you've got receipts, you need to show them. So then there's this today. Breaking, U.S. Department of Justice identifies cryptos as commodities in the Southern District of New York court filing on December 23rd, 2022. This is, I can't remember if this is the same district. I think this is the same district where the Ripple case is going on, isn't it? They were trying to make the point that if they're calling the thing, and I don't know, I'm no attorney, but they're basically in a court filing saying that certain these digital assets are commodities. Now, legally, I don't have any idea how that would or if it even could affect the Ripple case at all. Maybe John Deaton will weigh in on that. Then we've got this. MicroStrategy now holds 132,500 Bitcoin, worth over $2.1 billion. Now, I want you to think about this for a second, folks. I've hit this before, but now I've got Jimmy Valley, he did a show with, I think her name's Molly Elmore. So I'll show you her channel so that y'all can go and give her a subscribe. She interviewed Jimmy Valley. Now, MicroStrategy, I want you to think about this. MicroStrategy is a company that answers to shareholders, has a board of directors, okay? But more important, they answer to shareholders that can sue them. Now, think this through. They are investing $2.1 billion into an asset that they admittedly don't know who created it. In other words, it could be North Korea or someone like that. Think about the liability there. I've made this point 1,000 times. Nobody has ever addressed it, that like someone like this who is investing via a company, or some of these people are investment firms that are investing other people's money into Bitcoin. Now think about that. Think about that in a lawsuit scenario where, let's say an investor, what's the woman's name? Kathy Wood, smart woman. Well, she's got ARK Investments, and I'm assuming she invests on behalf of her clients. Now think this through. let's say that she invested $100,000 of an investor's money in Bitcoin, and then that 100,000 goes down to 10,000. And then that investor decides to sue Kathy Wood and ARK Investment and say, you're telling me that you invested all this money of mine into this thing and you don't even know who created it? You don't know if it's a terrorist or a dictatorship or a communist state or some terrorists in a cave in Afghanistan, and you thought it was a smart idea? They could sue the pants off of her, okay? This is why this has never made any sense to me. There's only two options, and Jimmy Valley covered. He's an attorney. This guy was with Jones Day, which is one of the largest law firms in the world. He's not a dummy, okay? Listen to what he says. There's only two options here, folks. The people that are investing their clients' money in Bitcoin, they either know, and so they're not worried about the fiduciary duty because they really do know, in which case they're lying about and pretending they don't know who Satoshi Nakamoto is, which is a scandal in itself, or they actually don't know and they are breaching major fiduciary duties, which opens them up to massive lawsuits. All it takes is one person that sues them because they lost money on Bitcoin. Listen to this.
I think the reality is we've learned this from other disclosure. Our government knows who created Bitcoin. I think it's 4 individuals. There's 4 Satoshis. They know exactly who they are.
We've shown the video.
I would think that the major institutional investors who have material Bitcoin holdings are under a fiduciary obligation to know who Satoshi Nakamoto is. I mean, are you really telling me that you can go make hundreds of millions and billion-dollar investments in an asset that you don't know who has created it, you don't know who controls that wallet, that they could do whatever they want to at any time, and you can look at your investors, in some cases pension funds, other major institutions, with a straight face and say you have no fiduciary obligation to know the truth behind that? I think that issue in and of itself either requires that they absolutely knew, or all of them should be fired immediately. I mean, it's like that.
I think we saw with Tornado Cash that the U.S. government too will not hesitate to label something for being sort of for terrorism or money laundering purposes. What if Satoshi turned out to be a North Korean hacker?
Now, I want you to think about that for a minute. Let's say that one of these funds that's invested in Bitcoin got sued for $100 million. I'm just giving you a hypothetical. They get sued for $100 million. And the attorneys for the people suing them are saying, you invested all this money in this and you didn't even know who created this thing. And that is a breach of your fiduciary duty to my clients. Well, all of a sudden, that company that's getting sued is in a spot. They got one of two options. They either say, well, nope, you're wrong. We did know who Satoshi is, in which case the world finds out who Satoshi is and the whole thing collapses because the designation as a commodity and everything else that's happened is all built on this idea that there's not something, we don't know who created it. It's all built on that. So it collapses. Folks, you have to that's option one, is they say, oh yeah, we did know. Option two is, no, we didn't know. And now you're subject to losing tons of money. And I mean, it's a catch-22. I believe that there's a very good chance that this is what the setup was all along, is that some lawsuit comes along and all of a sudden the world finds out that everybody did know who Satoshi was. How about them apples? Now, this is another, this person says, a massive countrywide government cover-up of this size would be epic and catastrophic. The ripple effects would be colossal. Exactly. Now, I got to do a wild speculation alert. Warning, XRP buyback discussion. You're not allowed to talk about this on Twitter, but Jimmy Valley's talking about it anyway. It's interesting to me, so I think it'll be interesting to you. Do not watch if you're easily offended. Here we go.
So one question that I know comes up a lot is, if hypothetically there were to be a situation in the future where a government or a bank were to buy back the asset at a much higher value, why wouldn't they just buy all of it right now when it's very cheap? Like, seems silly to not do that. What is your response to that question when that comes up?
So there's several reasons, but I think the most profound reason is that the only reason they would really want to do that is to, in the process of the transaction, establish a true fair market value. Okay, fair market value requires a few things. It requires, both parties not being in a position where they're compelled to sell. So, for example, if you and I want to buy your XRP, if I put a gun to your head and I say, sell me all your XRP or I'm going to blow your brains out, I'm compelling you to sell. You're basically entering that contract under duress. That's not an enforceable contract. Fair market value was not established, right? Likewise, if I know that I'm going to buy your XRP and that we are going to use it as the transformative asset of a new financial system, and that, within a year, 2 years, 3 years, we're going to dramatically increase the price based on a global coordinated effort that we've been engaged in for multiple years, and I don't inform you of that, then I've done the same thing. It's called fraud and the inducement. I'm in possession of material facts that, had you known that, you would not have sold it to me, okay? So we've just talked earlier about all the different fraud and the coordinated FUD and the fact that this lawsuit has been brought, it's been delisted from this exchanges. You have all these media people going on to CNBC, Jim Cramer, you got Michael Saylor, all these people fudding XRP all the time. Now it seems like it's moved up to the Charles Hoskinson level and the Vitalik Buterin level, and this guy Craig White weighed in here, past couple of days and gotten an argument with David Schwartz, about stuff. So this is a massively coordinated campaign to basically keep people from adopting the asset. So it is a price suppression activity. What is on the exchange is not real. And that's where this is why I think people have so much cognitive dissonance about a high price, is because in order to basically start agreeing to the high price concept, and it doesn't even matter if it's $35,000, $50,000, $100, right? If you think that the price should be $100, you really start to have to question whether what you're looking at on the screen is real or not, which goes to the whole structure, is the whole system real or not, okay? And the cognitive dissonance of not really wanting to know that it's kind of made up.
Very interesting. I wanted to make sure that I showed, let me do this. Let me make sure I show you what her channel is so you can go
talking about is where it's
subscribe. Clever Hummingbird. I'll give her a subscribe too. She's Clever Hummingbird on YouTube. Very smart lady. I've looked at some of her tweets and some of the video. Breaking Sam Bankman Fried to enter a plea deal next week. That'll be interesting to watch. Then we've got this: China set to launch its first regulated NFT platform on January 1st, 2023, while Gary Gensler in the United States holds the entire industry back and only seems to want to work with people who are perpetuating frauds. Everybody else, he sues. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe, hit the like button, and tell your friends and family. The only people I can find that Gary Gensler actually does let come in and talk to him and make some progress are people that are perpetuating frauds. Go figure.